Hello friends, welcome to this video class. I am Dr. Bhima Shankar Halsangi, Assistant Professor of Chemistry. Today we shall discuss about organometallic chemistry and that too as per the syllabus of Rani Chennamma University's UG course. The contents that we are going to discuss in this video is introduction, classification, 18 electron rule with respect to iron pentacarbonyl, nickel pentacarbonyl, manganese pentacarbonyl plus and ferrocene. And at the end we shall discuss structure and bonding in Zeise's salt. Well, I have written some of the structures here. Look at these. The first one is methyl lithium, and I have shown a bond between carbon of methyl and lithium, methyl lithium. And another structure is methyl magnesium chloride, which is a Grignard reagent, wherein I have shown a bond between carbon of methyl group and magnesium, and another bond between magnesium and chlorine. So another example, lithium dimethyl cuprate that you have studied in your third semester, which is generally known as Gilman reagent. Lithium dimethyl cuprate, wherein in this structure I have shown a bond between carbon of methyl groups and copper. Copper has made a bond with carbon of two methyl groups. Sorry. So in these three examples, the common thing what we observe is the bond between carbon and metal. So in all of these three examples, lithium is a metal, magnesium is a metal, and copper is a metal. What we have in all these three examples is a metal and organic part. As the term has two words, that is organic part and metal part, and that organic part and metal part should have a direct bond between carbon and metal, and such compounds or such molecules are called organometallic compounds. So for a compound to be called as organometallic compound, it has to have at least one bond between carbon and metal. That is very prerogative. So if you want to call a substance or a compound organometallic compound, it has to have at least one carbon metal bond. So and look at this example. Wilkinson's catalyst, a chloridotris triphenyl phosphine rhodium 1, well-known catalyst, Wilkinson's catalyst, which is used for hydrogenation. So this Wilkinson's catalyst is also classified into organometallic compound, though it doesn't contain any of the bond between carbon and metal. Still it is considered as organometallic compound. It is just because when you put this Wilkinson's catalyst for hydrogenation in a reaction, this Wilkinson catalyst, which contains rhodium metal, which makes bond with carbon of that molecule which will be undergoing hydrogenation. As a result, we call this Wilkinson's catalyst also an organometallic compound. So all in all, what we need to know is, if you want to classify a compound as organometallic compound, it has to have at least one bond between carbon and metal. And the very important thing we need to take note of is that carbon should be a part of hydrocarbon. That carbon which makes bond with metal has to be a part of part of hydrocarbon. It may be molecule or radical, but the carbon should be a part of hydrocarbon. And the bond between metal and carbon can be either sigma bond or pi bond. There is no restriction that such a bond should be there. It can be any bond. It can either be pi bond or sigma bond. Well, the very first organometallic compound that is recognized is Jesus salt. And apart from this, there are compounds which are having carbon metal bond. Still, we don't classify them as organometallic compounds. It is because, as I mentioned already, that carbon has to be a part of hydrocarbon. Sometimes that carbon may not be a part of hydrocarbon. In such cases, we don't call that compound as organometallic compound. For example, metal carbide, metal cyanide. Though there is a bond between carbon and metal in case of metal cyanides, in most of the cases, these are not considered as organometallic compound because the carbon is not a hydrocarbon. And similarly, carbonates. Carbonates are also, metal carbonates are also not considered as organometallic compounds because the bond may be between oxygen and metal. So hence, metal carbides, cyanides, carbonates and some other compounds are generally not considered as organometallic compounds. Well then, let us define organometallic compounds. Organometallic compounds are those in which central atoms are bonded directly to the carbon atoms of hydrocarbon. Organometallic compounds are those in which central atoms are bonded directly to the carbon atoms of hydrocarbon. And next we shall study classification. Classification of organic compounds is based on two bases. We use two bases to classify organometallic compounds. Well, the first basis is nature of the bond between metal and carbon. So, depending on the nature of the bond between metal and carbon, we have classified organometallic compounds into three classes. First one is ionic organometallic compound. In this case, the bond between metal and the carbon should be ionic, as the term itself indicates. If the bond between metal and carbon is ionic, and that organometallic compound is classified as ionic organometallic compound. And this class constitutes the alkali metals. So all the alkali metals except lithium constitute this class. And these ionic organometallic compounds are highly reactive. They are more reactive because of their ionic bond. And the examples are sodium cyclopentadiene and methyl cesium. And next class is compounds containing metal carbon sigma bond. If an organometallic compound contains a sigma bond between metal and carbon, and such organometallic compound can be put into this category, this class. And the group 2 elements, group 12 elements, group 13, group 14 and group 15 will constitute this class of organometallic compounds. And the next class in this basis is compounds containing metal carbon pi bonds. If the bond between metal and carbon is pi, if it has one pi bond, and then that compound is classified into this category. So this is an example. And the next basis on which these organometallic compounds are classified as is the metal itself, nature of the metal or group of metal, to which group it belongs. The first class in this basis is main group organometallic compounds. In this case, the metal should strictly belong to the main group metals. And the examples are Grignard reagent, cacodyl oxide, triethyl aluminium. In this cacodyl oxide, we have bond between arsine and carbon, and this belongs to main group. This aluminium also belongs to main group. And in this Grignard reagent, magnesium also belongs to main group. And the next class is transition group organometallic compounds. And the metal should belong to transition group, and such organometallic compounds are put into this category, this class. Examples are Zeise's salt, Wilkinson's catalyst, Gilman reagent, Vasca's complex, ferrocene. And metal in all of these examples belong to transition. You know about transition elements. There are three rows of the transition elements, first, second, and third row. If the metal belongs to those three rows, and then it is classified into transition group organometallic compound. And next class is lanthanide, actinide organometallic compounds. If the metal is either lanthanide or actinide in an organometallic compound, and that organometallic compound is classified into this class, and the example I have taken here is uranosine. Well, so to have a bird eye view, I have put this periodic table, and as I mentioned, except lithium, the first group elements except lithium make ionic organometallic compounds. The covalent multinuclear bond will be made by these elements. And transition group, three rows of transition elements, scandium to copper, yttrium to silver, and lanthanum to copper. So all of these to just have a glance, and main group organometallic compounds also. Well, the very important thing we need to study in this organometallic compound is hapticity. What is hapticity? Hapticity is, so before going to hapticity, let us, organometallic compounds are nothing but these are also coordination compounds. So this organic part acts as a ligand, and there is a metal, and there will be a bond between ligand and metal. So hapticity is the term pertaining to the ligand. So then what is hapticity? Hapticity is nothing but it is number of carbon atoms of that ligand, number of carbon atoms of that ligand which is making bond with metal. So number of carbon atoms may differ from 1 to 8, sometimes 8. So depending on that, we will be having different hapticity of that ligand. Hapticity is nothing but it is number of carbon atoms of a ligand that are bonded to metal atom or ion in an organometallic compound. So this hapticity is denoted by eta. So this hapticity will be having a superscript number which denotes its, this hapticity will be having a superscript number which denotes its hapticity. Say for example, we have monohaptoligand. Mono means 1. Hapto means hapticity is 1. if the ligand makes bond only with one carbon with the metal, and hapticity of that ligand is 1, and it is denoted by eta superscript 1, and it is read as eta 1. An example here is ethyl magnesium halide. So this ethyl group in magnesium halide, in Grignard reagent, ethyl group has made bond with magnesium with only one carbon, and the hapticity of this ethyl group is 1, and it is monohapto ligand. So, and next dihapto ligand, which is denoted by eta 2. So example is ethene. In this case, carbon makes bond with metal with both the this ethene makes bond with metal by both the carbons, via both the carbons. Both the carbons in ethene are making bond with carbon. So the hapticity of ethene is 2, and it is a dihapto ligand. And it is denoted like this. Even it can be denoted by this pattern also. And trihapto ligand. If the ligand makes bond with 3 carbon atoms with metal, and such ligands are called as trihapto ligand. The example is here. And similarly, it is denoted by eta 3. Tetrahapto ligand. Tetrahapto ligand. If the ligand makes bond with metal with using 4 carbon atoms of it, then that ligand is said to have hapticity 4, or it is a tetrahapto ligand. So example is 1,3-butadiene. 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 And similarly, pentahapto ligand. If the ligand makes bond with the metal using 5 carbons, then it is pentahapto ligand. Example is cyclopentadienyl group. So heptahapto ligand, which is denoted by eta 6. If the bond is made using 6 carbon atoms by a ligand, then it is a heptahapto ligand. Heptahapto ligand. Example is benzene. Well, having studied the hapticity, let us move on to study 18-electron group. This is very important thing that we need to study in this organometallic compound. Well, we know that we know how to count the number of electrons in a coordination compound. So what we do is we make use of Sedgwick's model theory, which is an extended theory of octet rule, to count the number of electrons. And what we consider here is we consider ligands as Lewis bases and metals as Lewis acids. Lewis bases are the species which donate electrons, and Lewis acids are species which accept electrons. Lewis acid is nothing but electron donor. Lewis base is a species which donates electron. Lewis acid is a species which accepts electron. So having considered this, we count the number of electrons in a coordination compound. If the total number of electrons in that complex comes out to be 36, 54, 86, and that these numbers are called as effective atomic number. The sum of total number of electrons on metal plus number of electrons donated by ligand, and if you add these two, if it comes out to be 36, 54, 86, then that number is called effective atomic number, and that complex is said to be obeying effective atomic number rule. The EAN rule is said to be obeyed when that coordination compound contains 36 number of electrons or 54 number of electrons or 86 number of electrons. And to avoid the confusion with these numbers 36, 54, 86, this EAN rule is simplified, and that simplified version of the EAN rule is nothing but 18 electron rule. How is that simplified then? Well, what we consider in 18 electron rule is we take consideration of only valence electron in that complex. So valence electron, which are valence electrons? The electrons in n minus 1 d orbital, n s orbitals and n p orbitals. If all of these three orbitals are completely filled, then the total number of electrons will be 18. 10 plus 2 plus 6. You will have 18 electrons, and then that complex is said to be obeying 18 electron rule. I hope it is clear. Effective atomic number is simplified into an 18 electron rule just to avoid the confusion of 36, 54 and 86. And what is done here is the only valence electrons are considered in that complex. So those orbitals, that is n minus d orbital, ns orbital and np orbital, and these three orbitals can accommodate 18 electrons. If all of these three are filled, then the complex is said to be obeying 18 electron rule. Well, this 18 electron rule helps us predicting the stability and structure of the complex, and even it helps in predicting existence of metal-metal bond, and it helps even in determining the nature of the ligand, whether the ligand is bridged or terminal. To predict these three, we make use of this 18 electron rule. Well, we have two different procedures to count number of electrons, or to arrive at whether the complex obeys 18 electron rule or not. We need to count the number of electrons. For counting the number of electrons, we have two different procedures. One is neutral atom method and another one is oxidation state method. And the care has to be taken here is, we need to follow strictly only one method. We should not mix both the methods. Say for example, you are counting number of electrons from metal using neutral atom method, and you are considering number of electrons electron counting for ligands. We should not mix both the methods, and we should restrict ourselves to count number of electrons using only one method. So if you mix both the methods, you will arrive at erroneous number. Well, so this is the table which gives details of number of electrons donated by ligands. There is slight change in the number of electrons denoted by both neutral atom method and oxidation state method. Say for example, if you have a nitrosyl ligand in a bent fashion, you are counting the number of electrons using neutral atom method. The count will be 1 for nitrosyl in neutral atom electron count, and the same ligand counts 2 electrons while counting oxidation state method, while counting by oxidation state method. And again, another example is if you take halogen. If you are counting number of electrons by neutral atom method, the count should be considered 1, And if it is oxidation state method, count is to be 2. Hydrogen, the count is 1 for neutral atom method and 2 for oxidation state method. So similarly, the number differs. See here, let me take another example. Cyclopentadienyl. Take cyclopentadienyl group. If you are counting the number of electrons using oxidation state method, the count from the cyclopentadienyl will be, sorry, if you are counting number of electrons using neutral atom method, the count will be 5 for cyclopentadienyl group. If you are counting using oxidation state method, the count will be 6. So you need to remember these things. So it's not a big deal, you can remember them. But counting of electrons there should not be mixing of both the methods. If say for example you are counting by neutral atom method, you need to follow neutral atom method itself. If you are following oxidation state method, you need to follow oxidation state method only. Okay. Well, let us move ahead and take some examples. So let me take an example, iron pentacarbonyl or pentacarbonyl iron 0. So to count the number of electrons in this case, you need to know the number of valence electrons of iron and number of electrons donated by carbonyl group. Well, to know the number of valence electrons, it is better to write electronic configuration of iron. So electronic configuration of iron gives you 3d6 4s2. So 6 plus 2 8 electrons. The contribution of electrons by iron is 8. And there are 5 carbonyl groups and each carbonyl donates 2 electrons. 5 into 2 10. The share, the contribution of electrons by 5 carbonyl groups is 10. If you add these two, you will arrive at 18. This is by neutral atom method. You can say this iron pentacarbonyl obeys 18 electron rule. You can say iron pentacarbonyl 0. Iron pentacarbonyl obeys 18 electron rule. And this is by neutral atom count method. So let us take another method of counting electrons, that is oxidation state method. The oxidation state of iron in this case is 0. 0 oxidation state will be nothing but its atomic state. Write the electronic configuration of iron. It will be 3d6 4s2. The number of electrons contributed by iron in this case is also 8. And 5 carbonyl groups, each donates 2 electrons, amounts to 10. If you add these two, you will arrive at 18. So by both the methods of counting, you should get same number of electrons. You should not get different number of electrons for counting. If you are counting it by neutral atom method, count should be same. If you are counting it by oxidation state method, the count should be same. If you get different numbers, you need to think that you have gone wrong somewhere in counting. Well, next example that we need to take is nickel pentacarbonyl or pentacarbonyl nickel 0. So again, let us count the number of electrons by neutral atom count method. For that, write the electronic configuration of nickel. The electronic configuration of nickel is argon 3d8 4s2 and the total count from the nickel is 10. The contribution of the nickel is 10 electrons and there are 5 carbonyl groups, each donates 2 electrons. So the total number of electrons contributed by 5 carbonyl groups is 10. So if you add these two, you will get 20. So 20 is not 18. So now you can say that this nickel carbonyl, nickel pentacarbonyl doesn't obey 18 electron rule. Now let us check with the oxidation state method also. So write the electronic configuration of nickel 3d8 4s2. Nickel oxidation state of nickel is 0 and its electronic configuration is 3d8 4s2. The total number of electrons contributed by nickel is 10 electrons and 5 carbonyl groups donate 10 electrons. If you add these two, you will arrive at 20. So the number of counting is same on both the methods. So this nickel pentacarbonyl does not obey 18 electron rule. Hence, we can conclude that this is unstable. Well, another example is pentacarbonyl manganese 1, manganese pentacarbonyl plus. So look at this example. In earlier case, the metal was in oxidation state 0, but here in this case the oxidation state of metal is +1. So you just bear this in your mind. So let us now consider the counting by neutral atom count method. So for that, write the electronic configuration of manganese in its atomic state itself. Don't consider oxidation state in this case. No need of considering oxidation state of metal in neutral count. In neutral count, what you need to do is you just write the electronic configuration of atomic metal, and it is 3d5O4s2. The total number of contribution of electrons by manganese is 7, and there are 5 carbonyl groups, each donates 2, and the total amounts to 10. And there is a plus charge on the coordination sphere. It means that one electron has to be removed. So we need to subtract one electron. Well, if you count this, if you add these two, 10 plus 7, 17, minus 1, 16. Why we should subtract one electron? Because we have a positive charge on the coordination sphere. So 16 electrons, 16 is again not 18, hence we can say that this compound does not obey 18 electron rule. This is by neutral atom count method. Well, let us count by oxidation state method. So here in this case, what we need to do is we need to consider the oxidation state of manganese. The carbonyl is a neutral ligand. Carbonyl group doesn't have any charge on it, and the charge on the coordination sphere is +1, and this will be due to manganese, and hence we can say that manganese is in +1 oxidation state. Write the electronic configuration of manganese in +1 oxidation state. It is 3d5O4s1. 3d5O4s1, and the total number of electrons contributed by manganese is 5 plus 1, 6. 6 electrons are contributed by manganese. Oh, this should have been superscript. Forget it. A typo. Manganese contributes 6 electrons. There are 5 carbonyl groups. Total number of electrons contributed by 5 carbonyl groups is 10 electrons. If you add these two, you will get 16. So in both the cases, we have got 16. So this manganese pentacarbonyl manganese plus does not obey 18 electron rule. Now add a hydride ion to this complex. If you add hydride ion to this complex, you will get this complex. Count the number of electrons in this complex first by neutral method. Electronic configuration of manganese is 3d5O4s2. Total number of electrons contributed by manganese is 7, and there are 5 carbonyl groups. All of them put together contribute 10 electrons, and The hydrogen I had mentioned in table. Hydrogen in neutral method is considered as one electron contributor. So this you need to remember. Hydrogen in neutral method count gives one electron. So if you add all of these, you will get 18. So this complex obeys 18 electrons. This is by neutral method. Oxidation state method. Oxidation state of manganese is plus 1, and the contribution of electrons is 6. That is 3d5 4s1, and there are 5 carbonyl groups. Each donates 2 electrons, and total amount will be 10 electrons. Now we are, oh, this is H minus, so it had to be a superscript. Okay. H minus, hydride ion. The count for hydride ion is 2. Hydrogen, so that I had shown in this table. See here, hydrogen, 1 for neutral count method, 2 for oxidation state method. This is what you need to remember. For counting number of electrons in oxidation state method for hydrogen is 2, and for counting number of electrons by hydrogen in neutral method is 1. So if you add these three, you will get 18, and this complex obeys 18 electron rule. So this is unstable. If you add hydride ion, this becomes stable because it achieves 18 electron rule. Well, another example that we need to look into is ferrocene. So this is the structure of ferrocene. So if you look at this, iron is at the center or in the middle, and above the iron there is one cyclopentadienyl group, and below the iron there is another cyclopentadienyl group. So this complex resembles sandwich. So one is above, cyclopentadienyl is above iron, and one cyclopentadienyl is below iron. So this type of organometallic compounds are called sandwich compounds. The IUPAC name of this ferrocene is bis eta 5 cyclopentadienyl iron 2. Let us count the number of electrons in ferrocene using neutral atom method first. Number of electrons contributed by iron is 3d6 4s2. Total number is 8. How does it 8 come? If you write the electronic configuration, you will know the number of electrons contributed by iron. Eta 5 cyclopentadienyl. The cyclopentadienyl group in neutral method donates 5 electrons. The count will be 5. If you are counting by neutral atom method, cyclopentadienyl number is 5. This you need to remember. Cyclopentadienyl gives 5 electrons in neutral count method, and there are 2 cyclopentadienyl groups, and both of them put together will give 10 electrons or contribute 10 electrons, and if you add these two, you will get 18. So this ferrocene is said to obey 18 electron rule, and it is stable. Next method is oxidation state count method. This ferrocene is a neutral compound. If it is neutral, the cyclopentadienyl has negative charge on it. There are 2 cyclopentadienyl groups. It means that there are 2 negative charges in this compound, and these 2 negative charges is to be neutralized by iron. So you can say iron is at oxidation state +2. Write the electronic configuration of iron +2, 3d6 4s0. The contribution of iron plus 2 is 6 electrons. 6 electrons are contributed by iron. Well, this had to be a super. There are two cyclopentadienyl groups. In this oxidation state count method, the number of electrons contributed by cyclopentadienyl is 6, whereas it is 5 in case of neutral atom method. If you are counting the number of electrons by neutral atom method, the number of electrons contributed by cyclopentadienyl is 5. If you are counting it by oxidation state count method, the number of electrons by cyclopentadienyl group is 6. So this is the difference you need to remember. There are two cyclopentadienyl groups. Total number of electrons contributed by cyclopentadienyl groups is 12. If you add these two, you will get 18. You can say this ferrocene obeys 18 electron rule. Well, now let us see structure and bonding in Zeise's salt. This Zeise's salt is a very first discovered organometallic compound. The first organometallic compound we have discovered is Zeise's salt. It is a very well-known platinum to organometallic compound, and this Zeise's salt is an example for metal olefins. What are olefins? Olefins are nothing but ethene group. Olefins are compounds which have at least one double bond between carbon and carbon. Any compound which contains at least one carbon-carbon double bond, and that compound is said to be olefin. So this is one example, one of the examples for metal olefins. If you look at this structure, this complex is approximately a square planar complex. It is approximately a square planar complex. So in this case, all these three chlorine atoms and platinum fall in one plane, whereas this ethene group lies perpendicular to this plane formed by three chlorine atoms and platinum. And this metal is having dsp2 hybridized sigma orbitals, and this ethene has both pi bonding molecular orbitals and pi star orbitals. Pi bonding molecular orbitals and pi star orbitals. So the sigma orbitals of this platinum, that is dsp2 sigma orbitals of platinum, overlap with the pi bonding molecular orbitals of this ethene, olefin. And similarly, the filled d pi orbitals of this platinum overlap with pi star orbitals of this olefin. So this simultaneously will be happening. Well, let us see the bond length in this case. This ethene has double bond between these carbon, and the bond length of this double bond is 1.37 angstrom in this complex, whereas the this bond length in free ethene is 1.5 angstrom. So here in this case it has got shortened, and the bond length between platinum and chlorine, which are cis to this ethene, is 2.3 angstrom. These are cis to this ethene group, and the bond length between platinum and chlorine, which is trans to this ethene, is having 2.23 angstrom. And the bond length between platinum and carbon, and platinum and another carbon of ethene, is 2.02, and both the bond lengths are similar, and this shows that this platinum and both the carbons are equidistant from platinum. So because the bond length between platinum and carbon, platinum and this carbon are same. So we can conclude that the both the carbons of ethene lie equidistant from platinum. So this is about structure and bonding in this salt. So I hope I have made clear, and this is very brief discussion, not that detailed discussion, because this is the thing we need to discuss as per our syllabus. Well, I hope I have made clear. Thank you.